I can hear someone who's still.
It's just me. I'll shut up now.
Or whatever it said. That's what it wrote, no smoking in Arabic.
Try to do anything.
Shall we start? All right. I guess I should stay seated. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming. I am Rebecca, Whiskey 5, Tango Alpha. And today's Tech Talk is on Winlink and VarAC with special guest star Steve, W5HK, joining us for the demo portion from Bastrop. Hang on just a second. Hang on. Here we go. Share. Okay.
Where's your Bluetooth? Oh,
All right. So many of you have probably heard of Winlink. It's a network for sending email over the radio, but you might be less familiar with VarAC. It's a relatively new keyboard-to-keyboard digital mode.
Where's that?
Become popular on HF, with most of the action being on 20 meters and 40 meters. And right now we are live here on 40 meters. Let's see. I'm going to try to keep this to roughly an hour. I've got a lot of slides to go through. Please don't worry about frantically taking notes, because we're going to record it and make the PowerPoint available to members somehow. Basically, I'm going to divide it into 20, maybe 30 minutes on Winlink, another 20 on VarAC, and then we'll hit the demo with Steve. So some caveats. I've been a ham list in 2 years, and I'm really interested in these digital modes. Been exploring them for about 1 year, but I'm still learning myself. So if you have any comments or corrections, just speak up and I'll stop. I won't be looking under the hood, as that's really not my expertise and we don't have time for it. My goal is really to give you as much bang for the buck as I can cram into this hour. Because this is really powerful functionality that you can enjoy as a ham radio operator with a relatively small investment in time. As Steve and I were saying, yeah, there's CW, that's the original digital mode, but it's going to take you a year to gain proficiency at that. And what I'm about to show you here, you can get up and running in less than a week. You're going to have a lot of fun. All right. Why do we package these two things together? Well, you're going to need to install software to run the VarAC protocol in order to get VarAC to work. And VarA is also one of the protocols you can use for the WinLink email program. So I say you may as well take the foray into both of them at once. And then there's this overarching theme of MCOM for both of these topics. I think they're both powerful tools that we should have. As far as that goes, we're going to get low power, robust comms, including in particular asynchronous and multimedia comms, which could be particularly valuable in a local or regional emergency. For example, a ham could send an email containing a picture of a missing person, a picture of some storm damage to your insurance company, spreadsheets of items needed by a shelter to another station outside of the disaster zone, and you don't need to coordinate time and frequency and such. Okay, WinLink modes. So, as I understand it, there are basically three. You have your radio to internet gateway CMS, common message servers. Your radio to RMS, radio message service. And this is particularly interesting to me, the post office mode, which is basically what it sounds like. And I wish I had time to go into it here, but you designate one station as your post office, and then you can leave messages for other people at the post office, and they check into the post office to retrieve the messages. And it can be entirely, self-contained. And then lastly, we have peer-to-peer, your radio directly connecting to another station's radio. And that could be particularly useful if maybe you only have a VHF station, but using WinLink, you can connect to a station that also has HF, and that can then forward the first station's mail to the world at large via RMS or a gateway. And if you're peer-to-peer, also you can bypass any congestion that's being experienced because of whatever the situation is. Okay, so the usual amateur radio rules apply when you're on WinLink. So nothing profane, nothing commercial, there's no privacy, you can't use encryption, and you still have third-party traffic rules in effect. And just in case you don't believe me about the privacy thing, if you go to the winlink.org website, there is a link to Open Message Viewer right there on the main page. And I know this is tiny, but I've circled it over there in red on the lower right. And you have to have logged in with your call sign to WinLink Express for that link to appear and be active. But once you click on that, you get something like this, which is all the WinLink message traffic. And you can see I've pulled down the menu there where you can search by all kinds of things. So I could search by a subject if I'm looking for email about a tornado in a particular place or what have you. I just, there's more than voyeurism here. You can also find out kind of what's going on, get a sense for things. All right, how do we install it? So my aim here is to give you a roadmap with enough granularity to point you in the right direction. I don't have time to cover every single little step, but I'm going to try to point out some of the common pitfalls. And I'll tell you the resources, a couple of them I found valuable. First, about a year ago, I bought this little book. I didn't have high hopes for it. It's very thin, which I liked, and it gives you a bird's eye view of the digital landscape. It doesn't really cover WinLink, and it certainly doesn't cover VarAC, but I think it's still valuable if you're new to the digital world, or maybe you're a ham who hasn't been active in a few years and things have really changed. Here's a YouTuber I've learned a lot from, KW3KW, that's his channel, Ham Radio Made Simple. His videos can be long, but I mean, there's no fluff. He gets them just chock full of useful information. Here's another one. He's also shorter videos, very direct and to the point. And again, you don't have to furiously scribble this down. It'll all be there for you in the recording. And then this is another great website. These are longer format, a little more conversational videos, but you can learn a great deal of interesting things about IMCOM from these folks there in California. All right, hardware you're gonna need. Obviously, you need a rig, you need a minimal computer to run the software. This is over here is the Jankopotamus, the famous 12-volt laptop. The real name is the Maestro Evolve 3, but a lot of us have them. They're like $100 over at Micro Center. And that's perfectly fine to do everything we're gonna do today. Then you need a device to provide the sound card interface between those two if it's not built into the rig. If you've got a modern rig that plugs into your PC with a USB cable, you've probably got a sound card. If you don't, a popular solution is the DigiRig. And there is your DigiRig. And if you go to their website, they have a very nice help section explaining the differences between all their different models, and they'll help you find exactly what you need. All right, a note about HF versus VHF, UHF. Both these programs, WinLink and VarAC, can run on VHF and UHF. I've chosen to focus on HF in what follows. But I will say WinLink runs a whole lot faster on VHF, and once I started collecting my WinLink email on VHF, it's hard to turn back. The biggest downside to it is VHF is going to be line of sight. So in a disaster, the station's close enough to work on VHF might likewise be affected by the disaster, right? So if you're only going to learn to work one or the other, not that it's very different, I'd still choose HF for maximum flexibility. All right, software. WinLink clients are available on multiple platforms, including Windows, Linux, Apple, Android, but VarAC only runs on Windows. Now, some people do run it on other platforms using emulation software, but I'm not going to cover that here. I think it's better to pick up one of these $100 laptops and just devote it to running those applications. Okay, what to install first? Okay, so my suggestion here is start with WSJTX. Even though it's not required for anything we're going to discuss. Why? Because if you get WSJTX working, it means you've installed the necessary drivers correctly and you've gotten your sound card talking to your rig. It would be beyond the scope of this talk to dive into setting WSJTX up for your particular rig, but because WSJTX includes the very popular FT8, all you need to do is go Google your rig and FT8 on YouTube, and you're going to find videos aplenty to help you work through any issues. But, as I said, here's some pitfalls. Save yourself some grief. Do not plug your PC into the radio or even the USB cable into a radio that is turned off until you've installed the drivers. Trust me on that. So the first thing you're going to do after you have those drivers installed, you're going to note your enhanced COM port. So you're going to open the device manager, write that one down. You might have to do the view, show hidden devices thing. And your new ports are not going to appear until the cable to the radio is plugged in. The radio doesn't even have to be on. So here I'm showing you, I have identified my enhanced COM port there as COM4. That's my device manager. Okay, next we got to get VARA, the virtual modem. Now, VARA is not an acronym, doesn't stand for anything. It comes from a Spanish word. There are three different flavors there. FM, HF, satellite, actually, and the free version, you can use the free version for everything we're going to do. To be honest, I immediately technically bought the lifetime version. It's only $69. It is faster. So I recommend it. I don't really know what the user experience is like with the free version, but other people tell me it's fine. You can download that from Winlink or the website there. Yes, Jeffrey.
I will say VAR is a Spanish word, but it's actually the author of the VAR program. It's actually a sitcom in his slant of a character in a comic. That's
Oh,
what it's
okay.
made for.
I hadn't heard that before. Very good. All right, and then of course we need to get Winlink, and for that, just go to winlink.org. I've circled the download link there. This is it's a great website to just browse. Somebody has spent a lot of time putting help files and informational files together, just showing you where you get the thing. For example, if you search, this is on the website. If you look at the user program, it's a very long grid. It didn't fit on the screenshot here of all the client programs that are available, and it shows you in this table what each of them does and doesn't do. And this is a picture of WinLink Express, which is the client program that I'm going to recommend and focus on. So this is how it looks when you open it up. It looks like a pretty standard email client, right? You wouldn't know it has anything to do with radio except for those call signs. Okay, so you've opened up WinLink Express. First thing you got to do this WinLink Express setup there under the settings menu. Let's see. And that I didn't open that dialog because it's just standard stuff, you know, your name and your contact information. To actually connect to anything and exchange mail, you've got to now click this. It's actually a button, and I wanted to highlight this because of the colon, it doesn't really look like it's a button, but it is a button that you press. It's not simply a heading. And when you press it, you'll see there's a drop-down menu there. You're going to choose VarAC Winlink. You can see there's a whole number of things in that list. Telnet Winlink, it's just internet. So if you haven't like connected your radio, but you just want to verify that the program is like running, you can do email that way. This is what it looks like when you open that VarAC connection. You probably are going to encounter this. It will want to update its propagation estimates for different channels, and I'll get to what that means in a second. But only say yes if you're connected to the internet, because if you do this over RF, it'll take forever. Okay, this is what happens then when you open your session. It automatically launches this dialog box with the dials on the lower right. That's your virtual modem there. And it's launched both of these dialog boxes on the right. And you're going to have to do some more setup. You've got to go in here, make sure it knows where the modem location is. That's probably going to be the default when you installed it, the VarAC. I don't recall changing any ports here. This one, you got to select your radio, and you got to make sure you choose the enhanced COM port that I pointed to earlier in the device manager. The baud rate is going to come from your radio. So if you don't know what it is, consult your manual, dive into the menus, and just make sure it matches. I don't think the number is so important, it just has to match. And then where it says PTT port optional, in my experience it's not optional, it's not going to work. If you don't select something here. So choose your rig from the drop-down menu. Okay, and then this is looking at the VarAC modem dialog box, and I've circled that dial there. This is the incoming audio from the rig into the computer, and you want this to be in the range right around noon, just a little bit below, I think is ideal. And we're gonna get to that in the next set. Hang on. That's where if you do buy the license, you put your registration key in this VarAC setup dialog box. Okay, now this is where we set the audio levels. The thing on the bottom where it says the frequency 14067, that's just an example. I don't know if you can see it. The screen looks a little dark, but it's telling you that you're aiming to get the ALC in the 1/3 area when you transmit. But the important thing on this dialog is make sure you have selected your USB audio codec and not like your default sound card from the computer. All right, setting audio levels. First note, if that tune button back on this screen, that red button, if that doesn't do anything, meaning when you press it, if you don't see your rig going to transmit, make sure you've selected your rig in that PTT drop-down menu I pointed to earlier, the one that said it was marked optional, not optional. You now have 2 levels that you got to adjust. Right? You have the level of the sound you're putting out to the radio, and you have the level of the signal you're receiving into your computer from the radio. So first, let's do audio out to the radio. If you have too much and you're engaging that ALC, you're getting distortion and splattering, and that's bad. But if you don't put out enough, you're not getting out. You're not going to be heard by anyone. So how do you do this? Open your control panel, select sound. You're going to go to the playback first. Go to that audio codec, which I've underlined. Go to the bottom and see where it says properties. Click on that, and then over on the properties dialog, you go to the levels tab, and you're going to move that slider back and forth. And you want to, you want to get, hang on. Sorry, I got off track here. So I like to turn the level up so that I at least see the ALC needle move on the rig. And that verifies to me that I'm manipulating the correct controls. And once I see that the ALC has engaged a little bit, I dial it back. Audio level into the computer from the rig. Remember, we're trying to get that needle that I was showing you at about 12 o'clock. So you have 2 ways of controlling that. There's the recording level on your sound card and the RF gain on your rig. And in my experience, you play with the former first, and then you fine tune with the latter. So again, we're going now to the recording tab under the sound. We're again selecting the codec, and we're going to properties and going to the levels tab under properties. And you're moving that slider back and forth until you get it in that zone I've circled. And this setup applies to both Winlink and VarAC. So again, that's kind of one reason I combine them. But you're now configured for Winlink. Time to connect. So we're back in that Winlink VarAHF session box. We have to select a channel, which means we need to connect to somebody. And that's where, remember, there was that dialog box that popped up to update the propagation estimates. That's what you're seeing here in the green. Take this with a grain of salt. I mean, Yeah, I usually go for one of the stations towards the top, but you need to play around with this. I have found most of the stations are on 80 meters, 40 meters, and 30 meters. 40 meters gets pretty congested. I have had the most luck on 30 meters, just FYI. Okay, caution, do not allow WinLink to auto-dial through the channels. That is an option, but it could very well select a band where you don't have an antenna attached. There's one YouTuber who has a video out there of he presses the auto-dial and then he goes and gets coffee, and I'm like, I don't think that would work for me. So be careful with that one. So once you've selected a channel, what you're going to see back on the HF WinLink session dialog box is this dial frequency is going to change. And you're also going to see it change on your rig. And it's going to, oh, sorry. Crucial, you have to click start in order to actually make the connection, having selected the channel. But let's, if you connect to someone having done that, you'll just you'll go and see if there's any mail waiting for you. But let's create a message. So here I'm showing you, just like any email client, you can go in and create a new message. You want to select WinLink message, and this is a big program. It has a ton of options. There are all these templates. You've probably heard of ICS forms. There's 213 form, which is very popular. There are radiogram forms. In fact, this is the easiest way, in my opinion, to create a radiogram. Because when you click the radiogram template, it pulls up this template in your browser window. You fill it out. You click OK at the bottom. Actually, I think you select the ARRL section that is your local section to send it to, and you post it to your outbox, and you're done. It doesn't actually send the form. This is what you get when you click OK at the bottom. It's formatted it as a radiogram. So it's not actually sending like a GIF or something of the form. It's sending just the text correctly formatted. All right, when you're done composing your message, it's posted to your outbox. It's not sent yet, though. You have to go and click on Start to start the section and connect to another station. When you do that, this is me with a couple things in my outbox, and each message gets this like alphanumeric designation. You'll see that where it's sending the two messages there. And when you send the message, you're going to see this on the VarAC modem display, something like this. The red means to transmit. Similarly, when I'm receiving a message there, you'll see the green. Right? That's what it looks like. What you see on the rig, that's me transmitting. It varies. There isn't any real. That's another me transmitting. It looks different. I kind of like to know what each of the digital modes sounds like. WinLink doesn't really have a distinctive sound to my ear like some of the modes. All right, here's another thing to be aware of. If you're accessing your WinLink email from multiple setups, like I have a smartphone that might be connected to my VHF rig, I have a laptop on an HF rig, what happens is you end up with WinLink mailboxes that don't match because they're local to your device. Once you download email, it only exists on that device where you downloaded it. So it's just a complication that you might have to deal with. But it surprised me the first time that I thought about it, like, oh, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense, right? Whitelist. If you send email to a person at an external email address, they're automatically whitelisted. But otherwise, you're not going to receive email from some rando off the street unless it's a known ham, like they have a call sign. Otherwise, you have to have whitelisted them. And that's a precaution to keep you and the system safe from spam and email that might violate the amateur radio rules. So where's the whitelist? Again, you go back to that Winlink website. You log in under My Account over there. You're going to see on the left side, there's a My Accept list. And here you can see mine. I filled out a few things. That's where you got to add people. All right, what else can you do with this? Oh, impress the muggles. You can text people's phones from your radio. How do you do that? Well, cell phone providers have it set up so that texting is really just another kind of email. You just need to know the recipient's phone carrier, and there are websites out there listing the email address to use to text a given number. I'm sorry?
All you have to have is a phone number.
Okay,
VarAC has where you can put it in there and send it with just a telephone.
I think I've heard of that. I learned of that later after I created
If you
these
go to the
slides.
forums in VarAC, I think you just add
Okay.
it.
Okay.
You don't have to put it here.
Well, that would be useful. It doesn't, I found this doesn't work with like lesser known carriers. It works best with the Verizons and the AT&Ts, but here's a link I found that goes carrier by carrier. But I believe that Jeffrey is right. That's just an example. It goes on and on and on. Another thing to do is Winlink Wednesday, which is like APRS Thursday, but with Winlink. Why? Well, if you don't practice, you forget how to do these things when you need them. And so the idea is you send a simple check-in message sometime during the day on Wednesday to a particular call sign. And on the first Wednesday, they want you to include a one-line weather report. On the third Wednesday, you use one of the ICS forms. This started in Virginia, but it's now proceeding nationwide. I think even worldwide check-ins. But there's complete instructions about how to do this on the website. And we used to have a North Texas version of Winlink Wednesday, but unfortunately this past week was the last week for that. That's the Winlink Wednesday website. There are other Winlink Wednesdays that are regional. All right, on to VarAC. How am I doing on time? Hey, I'm half an hour in. That's not too bad. All right, so the AC in VarAC doesn't stand for anything. It's the suffix of the creator's call sign. And this is not to be confused with VarAC Chat. That's an older and much more limited chat program. And if you followed our Discord discussions about VarAC, you probably heard of us talking about JSA Call in the same breath. And there's a good reason for that because they're very similar programs. And I think Steve and I hope to do another tech talk on JSA Call down the road. It's built on the architecture of WSJTX. As one guy put it to me on the air, JSA Call is for Mac people and VarAC is for Windows people. JSA Call has all the important features. It just doesn't do the 100% transmission of signal. Because VarAC is packet-based. If you get anything, it's error-free. So VarAC, it's got really an incredible GUI. A little elaborate, but on the plus side, it's got excellent integrated contextual help, and I'm going to be highlighting that. You'll definitely see it when we get to the demo portion here. You hover over things and it explains what they're for and how to use them. This is the VarAC website. And you can see there's a forum there, which is very helpful. There's this manuals and troubleshooting section. You can download a manual. It's well over 100 pages last I looked, and you know it's a long read, but really you can start playing with this without doing that. As far as downloads go, besides downloading VarAC, which you know there's a link, I didn't circle it, but it's the second link there on the top is where you download it. I also found it convenient to use OmniRig for cat control, so while you're downloading things, you might want to grab that as well. And the installation was straightforward. I didn't really have many notes about that. The VarHF modem that we already configured for WinLink is going to launch automatically when you open VarAC. And that's the one with the dials there. That's the virtual modem. You can minimize that once you verify that the audio level is still good. And I don't know if you saw, but it looks like most of you have a copy of the screenshot that I brought. And I did that just because the VarAC program, that's what this is. It's kind of involved, right? There's a lot going on here, so I thought, in case it was hard to see the projector, I thought I had this on a handout so you can kind of look at the different areas of the screen. Let me just kind of walk you through that for a second. There at the upper left, you've got your operating frequency. And to be honest, I've only done VarAC on 20 and 40. My understanding is that's where most of the action is. But these are the standard frequencies will be like pre-programmed in there when you launch it. There are people who do non-standard frequencies, and you can change those. You see basic controls are kind of clustered up there in the upper left. You've got your connections, your call CQ button. There's a slider where it says slot, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. There's a beacon button. Beacons it's what it sounds like. It's people who are just transmitting a signal every 15 minutes is the default, saying, hi, I'm here, this is my call sign. They might have an enhanced beacon to announce that they are running an email gateway, which means you can send an email not only to them, but to the world at large because they're connected to the internet. And so the beacons are there in the middle top window. Most of the lines are green background. And it will tell you there, you know, how long has it been since the beacon was heard. That's the T delta column, the second column, their call sign, their location, that little symbol that looks like, it kind of looks like a Band-Aid to me. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but that's the email gateway symbol. And then there's the SNR. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be chain. Yeah, chain. I guess that's what it is. So I've had QSOs with people as low as -20 SNR, which is amazing. I mean, anything above -10 is really fast. It's really wonderful what you can do here. You can also call CQ, and the people who have called CQ recently are in that third portion of the window there on top. Moving down, let's see, we have broadcast messages, and I'll cover that in a bit. That's where you're just, you know, it is what it says. You're just sending a message to anyone listening. There's no guaranteed delivery there, like there is when you connect to someone. The actual QSOs that you have are in the next window below that. And you can see was a little portion there of a QSO I have where I was connected to KY4DR. And below that window, you're going to see at the bottom there, that's the place where you're going to type, where it says new message. That's where you're actively typing messages, and the messages then go from that window to the buffer window right above that, and then they get pushed out. Along the right side, there's a number of important buttons there. Your send V-mail button that we'll cover. I'm going to go through each of these. I'm just kind of giving you the grand bird's eye view right now. There's the QSY buttons there, PSK reporter map, all kinds of good stuff. Let's keep going here. We do have to configure a couple things. Go up there to the settings menu, my information, basic stuff, obviously your call sign, your location, describe your antenna. That stuff there is what, there are canned messages where you could ask someone for their rig setup and it will spit out whatever they put in these fields. And icebreaker is something similar. That's a canned message that you'll see later on. Back under the settings menu, you gotta set up the rig cat control. Now, for some reason, even though there's a drop down for my FTDX10, I couldn't get rig control to work with that. And when that happens, and again, the program is wonderful. It walks you through this. It says, oh, it looks like you're having trouble. If you still have trouble, you might want to download OmniRig. And so that's exactly what I did. And once OmniRig worked on the first try, I didn't bother troubleshooting why the FTDX10 setting didn't work. Because as soon as it works, I just push forward. But when I connected this is the 710 over here, a different rig. I did use the drop down for the 710 for what that's worth, and it worked fine. So I'm not using OmniRig in this setup over here in the corner. I use OmniRig at home. I don't know what will work for you. Just be aware that it's out there as an option. Let's see. And you see there's the test button, PTT on, PTT off. Again, you want to make sure that when you press PTT on, you see the TX button light up on the rig. Logging, you can connect this to automatically flow to your favorite logging program. I'm using Log for Old Men. And again, if you go back to the VarAC website, it has all these user guides and there are posts about how to connect each and every logging program. It's really very thorough. I just wanted to point out under QSO, at one point I did limit the file size because I started getting people sending me unsolicited files from Cuba, and I thought, I don't know if this is a good idea. So just be aware that that will happen and could happen, and if you aren't happy with that situation, you might want to turn it off. I have on V-mail. You can allow people to park V-mails to other stations at your station. You may or may not want to do that. Let's see. You probably want to allow auto QSY because there is in particular, there's an I'm away setting. So a lot of people will turn their beacons on, serve as email gateways, and walk away. If you do that, you want to be sure that you're allowing the auto QSY so that you move off of the calling frequency when someone connects to you. And I'll explain what that means in a minute. This tab under email, that's the email tab under settings. If you you want to be an email gateway, that's where you enable it. And again, there's a help file out there that explains exactly what you need to do if you want to be an email gateway. This one's kind of important. This is under appearance and sounds. And by the way, you'll notice once you install the program, it's not going to look like my program because I have gone in and I have changed the font, I've changed the colors, I made it to my liking. You can make it whatever you want it to look like. There is a dark mode. I know some of you like that. But over here on the right, the sounds setting, I turn them all off. I don't want the program talking to me, but I point this out because a lot of times, I mean, really not infrequently, you will be listening to your radio, even in digital modes. I usually have the volume on the rig up to where I can just hear what's going on. And sometimes when you're sitting on the VarAC calling frequency, you'll hear like a male voice talking and like, huh? It's like, wait a minute, I'm on a digital mode. Why am I hearing sideband voices? And then you listen real carefully and you realize what you're hearing these narrator voices. Someone somewhere has turned the narration on. I think it might even be on by default, if I remember correctly. And so you're hearing, you've got mail, basically coming over your radio. And that is basically what's going on. Someone has made the mistake of leaving their audio codec as their default for all the sounds. So not only are they broadcasting the narrator's voice that they've enabled, they could be, broadcasting all manner of things. So that's a no-no. All right. Remember I said there were canned messages. I didn't really set these up. Some of them are in there by default.
That's a new feature. You can actually set up your music page.
Yes, I saw that. I don't think I've taken the release that does that yet. But yeah, the developer to support Winlink Wednesday has made a canned message, so it's real easy for you now. As I said, you can configure custom frequencies. Another thing to do first, up there in the upper right corner, there's a drop-down menu. The modes are, I think that it defaults to basic or something. You want to make sure you're on advanced, so you get all these goodies. There's also an MCOM mode. Don't use that one. Use advanced. And I just wanted to point out again, fantastic integrated help. There's all these user manuals, the Facebook forums, everything is linked right there for your convenience. I don't know of any other ham program quite like this. All right, closer look at the various parts. The note there's two widths there, bandwidth. Don't use the 2300. That's only for file transfers, and it's only for off the calling frequency, really off the slot frequencies too. You gotta be considerate because the slots are 750 hertz apart. I'm gonna explain what slots are when we get to CQs. Under beacons, remember these are the people who are sending out beacons every 15 minutes, just a message saying, hi, this is my call sign, I'm here. You can right-click on each one of these lines. You can do a QRZ lookup, and it automatically brings up your default browser with the QRZ page of that call sign. It's really cool. It's pretty slick. There's all these other things you can do. That button there that I circled is your personal beacon. So clicking it will toggle it on and off, and it will wait until it senses the calling frequency is not busy before it transmits. You don't need to worry about it QRMing someone. All right, the QSO. So we're going to do this live later on, but this again is that window, the section of the window below the middle there, where you see data stream message. When you're in a QSO, one of the neat things you can do is there's this little button called graph, that little blue button there that I've circled, and that'll show you a graph of your SNR as received by your counterparty and the counterparty's SNR, which is just kind of cool. And when you're in a QSO, right there, remember I said at the very bottom where it says new message, that's where you're typing what you're sending to the other person. If you look, there's a button right there. You click that button, you get this dialogue, and it's just a cheat sheet of some special things you can send. What's not listed here is the developer has embedded some sort of, what do you call them? Live action things where, remember, I don't know if you were watching when I sent the cascading happy faces falling down the screen. I'll do that later. That's, if you send LOL exclamation point, that's how you trigger that. Apparently there are half a dozen such Easter eggs hidden in the program. But it's just, you know, fun stuff to spice up life. You can make a sound on the other side, thumbs up, happy faces, silly things. And you can send these canned messages. And of course it logs everything. You can open and look at your log. Calling CQ. So the people in the upper right dialog, just like you can right click on one of the lines on the beacon list, you can right click on one of the lines in the CQ list, do a QRZ lookup, connect to them directly, and you can call CQ yourself by that call CQ button. And when you hit that button, you get this dialog box, which kind of explains the basic architecture here. The architecture is there's a center calling frequency. And for 20 meters, it's 14105. For 40 meters, it's 7105. Okay, and then on either side of the calling frequency, spaced 750 hertz apart, are what he's calling slots. So these are different channels. So the idea is you establish contact with someone on the calling frequency. All the CQ action, all the beacons are on the calling frequency. But once you connect to someone, then you have a short amount of time where you're supposed to negotiate a QSY to another frequency so that you take it to another room, basically, right? You're going to go off and have your QSO on one of the slots, and when you're done with your QSO, you come back to the calling frequency. So when you call CQ, what you're going to do is you pick a slot. That's what the little button is there for. And you want to make sure you're picking a slot that doesn't have any activity on it. So there's this thing he calls the slot sniffer. There's that blue button there where it says slot sniffer. You click that, you hold it, and you listen for activity. You can also just look at your waterfall if you have a pan adapter, right? And then what it does is the program encodes your slot into the CQ. So if I go with the slot number 11 there, when I hit the call CQ button at the bottom, the radio transmits my CQ with, it says to everybody, I'm waiting on slot 11. Let's see. And that's just a close-up of what's in that dialogue. Close-up, and so this is me having just called CQ. I don't know if you can read what it says there in the purple, but again, there's a lot of hand-holding in this program. It gives you hints, it tells you what's going on. In this case, in the purple, it's saying waiting on slot for reply, returning call to calling frequency in 270 seconds. Click here to return now. So the idea is I just called CQ. I'm gonna wait for like 5 minutes on my slot to see if anyone joins me there. If no one comes and answers my CQ, I'm gonna return automatically back to the calling frequency. Okay. And there I am. It says standing by on slot 11. No one answered me that time. Someone tried to connect to me, but it didn't happen. And right after you beaconed or called CQ is a good time to hit this little button on the right side, about the middle of the screen there. You see it says PSK Reporter Map. And that will show you who received your signal, which is really cool because you just press a button and it automatically pulls up your default browser with the PSK Reporter website. Your call sign's already been pre-filled, the mode's already been set to VarAC. It's just pretty slick. And so in this case, I can see I'm getting to Europe.
It does take a little time to propagate.
It does. If you hit it too quickly, you won't see as many stations as if you wait a good, I'd say 2 minutes does it.
So if you're sitting on a slot, is there any guarantee that all the traffic will come in on that slot while we're waiting for our connection?
No, there's no guarantee. I mean, if someone wants to answer your CQ, they know to find you there on that slot. But you're not going to be hearing the beacons or any other CQs while you're sitting on the slot. That's why you return to the calling frequency.
But somebody else could pick that slot as well, right?
Yeah, they could. Yeah. Just like in any radio thing. Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah, I don't know how this is going to work on field day. It'll be interesting. Okay, also on that right column is the send vmail button. Vmail it's just, the VarAC version of email. And there are two flavors. You can send to another call sign, to another basically user on VarAC, or you can send a conventional email. And to do the conventional email, you have to click that send to email checkbox there I've circled at the top. And this is in fact how you would do the VarAC version of, there's Winlink Wednesday, there's also VarAC Wednesday, where it's the same kind of deal, but you're checking in to a regular email. It's a Gmail address that they've set up to receive these check-ins. Now, just like on Winlink, where you create a message and it gets posted to your outbox, kind of the same thing here. You've created a message, but it just sits there locally on your computer until you connect to someone and send it out, right? So to send an email, a conventional email, I have to find someone with that gateway symbol in their beacon and connect to them. Oops, sorry. So when I do that, again, there's a lot of hand holding. It tells me I have vmails that I can relay to the station I just connect to, and it's gonna prompt me to QSY because we were discouraging passing a lot of traffic on the calling frequency. That's basically there to establish contact. Once you've established contact, you move off to a slot. And often the gateways will have clicked the I'm away button, which is, again, on the right side. It's one of those check boxes. If you click I'm away, then your system, when someone connects to you and wants to use your gateway, it'll do everything automatically. It will handle the auto QSY. It will do everything required. You don't have to be sitting there clicking OK or anything like that. So here, let's see what's going on. This is me sending connecting to an email gateway. And as I just said, it tells me, oh, this person's away. They've clicked that I'm away button. I can leave them an email, or I can just proceed with my business. There it's prompting me to do the QSY. And I'm just showing you this stuff to show you all these dialog boxes pop up to like walk you through exactly what needs to happen. You don't really need to read the manual because it's like always telling you what has to happen. So there it says this guy WD4U that I've connected to has accepted my QSY, and I will now notice that my frequency has changed. I'm no longer on 14105. I've gone to the first slot below that. And if I looked at my rig at this point, it would show the same frequency. And there I am. I've delivered my Winlink, VarAC Wednesday check-in email message. You see my text is in red. That means that was my outgoing text. The text incoming to me is blue. And the text from the system is black. And now that I've sent my email, it prompts me to QSY back to the call-in frequency, which I do. And we've disconnected. And I can go up to the tools menu, select mailbox, and I can, just like any email client, I can see my inbox, my sent box, my outbox, what have you. Other features. So I mentioned earlier there's a broadcast button over there, and this is just general messages. I mean, I've seen people send like Happy Father's Day, everybody, that kind of thing. When you press that broadcast button, you get a dialog like this. And I have here clicked the About Broadcast link, and it popped up this dialog. Again, embedded help everywhere. Another thing, broadcast messages I've seen used for. A few of us here, I think, were on that day with the North Texas Invis group, and we had a net on VarAC, and the net was kind of conducted over broadcast messages. So that's another use for broadcast. You're talking to a group all at once. And there I am. I just said howdy from Rebecca in Texas. That's in the broadcast window. Okay, there's also a Pathfinder button. So remember earlier I said one of the neat things about VarAC is I can send a message to a station I can't even contact directly on my radio. I'm going to use an intermediary station, right? So if I'm trying to reach a guy, you know, in Washington State, but I can only get to Montana, whatever, I can ask the system, I'm trying to hear this guy in Washington State. Give me a list of stations who are hearing the station in Washington, because I can't hear it. And the system, when I fill in his call sign and say find path, it'll tell me, well, these are the stations that heard so-and-so. And so then I can connect to one of those stations and leave a message for my guy in Washington. And whenever he connects to the system, he's going to be prompted, oh, so this intermediate station has a message for you. And then he will know to connect to that intermediate station, and he will receive my message. It's all very slick and amazing.
Does that require an internet connection?
No. No internet required. This is all over the radio, all RF. Let's see. This is another one of those buttons, the Inquire button there on the right side. Just some interesting things you can do while you're in a QSO. You can ask for what other stations has your station heard. You can ask what version of the software are you running. You can ask for their information. That's the stuff that you set up in that earlier settings dialog box where it's had like an icebreaker section where you can list your hobbies, just things that you might want to talk about. Let's see. So here I am. I'm in a QSO. I don't think the guy was there. I send info. So I've queried him to send me back his info. That's me in red saying info. And his station automatically replies with what he filled out in his settings. So now I know his rig, his power, his antenna. And other things to do, just like I said, there's a VarAC Wednesday. Same principle as Winlink Wednesday, just to keep your skills sharp and keep the system active. You can send a conventional email over using the vmail, but you're clicking that send to email checkbox to send to this varwednesday@gmail.com address. And this guy, KB0US, is the one who seems to have organized it, and he has all kinds of, files explaining what's being asked for. This is that North Texas InViz group I mentioned earlier that a few of us have played with. They do a net twice a month, and after a voice net, they've been doing digital stuff. So they've done JS8 call and they've done VarAC. I just mention it in case you're looking for playmates. All right, live demo time. Let's see what time it is. It's 11:03, just right on time. All right, let's see if.
I've never known.
Okay.
I'll get with
Yeah.
Steve.
Right. All right, let's wake up the rig here. All right, should I stop sharing the screen? I guess. Let's take a 5-minute break. Okay.
Good idea.
Let's take a 5-minute break, and I will stop sharing. Five. So, since we see Steve's beacon, it's 12 minutes old at this point. We can right-click on Steve's call sign, and I can say connect. And now you see the radio is going into transmit. Red light.
Coming right through.
You see my ALC is good. It says we're connected, bandwidth 500. We're on the calling frequency. Oh, Steve, you're away. So
Oh my goodness, we have to stop that. Okay, I'm back.
Away, but
Okay.
allowing QSY. So I'm going to send an invitation. I have to pick a slot first though. So I'm gonna go down to 104.250. I'm gonna say sniff the slot. I'm waiting for this. I'm listening. I don't hear anything. It sounds good. Send QSY. So you see the things that are in queue, in the buffer waiting to go out, appear here. So QSYF means I'm sending a message to suggest we change frequency to have our QSO on slot 1, which is at 104.250 here, 7104.250.
Don't really take that long to get a slot.
Well, we just exchanged a signal report here.
Oh,
Hang on. Come on. So you see down here at the bottom, when I transmit, this goes red. Right now we're receiving. Actually not sure why we're not connecting.
If you canceled it, tried to QSI to another QSY to another slot,
No, I don't see any activity there. So.
I don't see a QSY request. That's weird.
You didn't get my QSY request yet.
I did not. I've unchecked. I'm away. Usually this is seamless until you do a demo, of course.
Well, it wouldn't be a demo if it didn't have.
Normally this is like a pipeline conversation. Okay. Oh my goodness.
are you on a slot or are you actually on a calling frequency?
You see this? You see this right here? It says you're on a calling frequency. Please QSY or link will be closed. So it's always telling you what's going on. But I have a QSY request in queue, and I'm not sure why it's not sending it.
Right, but we're still in the buffer?
Yeah, it's still
Okay.
right here in the buffer.
We use that word buffer. I don't know if that's what you call it or not.
Well, it's going to disconnect in a 38 seconds, and we'll try again, or Steve can try us.
By the way, Rebecca, the two strongest signals on beacons right now are both in Tarrant County, you and K9 AHO.
Yeah.
Head DB stronger than everybody else.
I don't think this antenna is hearing as much as I hear at home.
Okay. QSY. Oh boy.
My handler doesn't have any.
It's going to close our link.
Yeah,
It never gave me the offer. I think that's because we were already connected. I should just leave it alone. All right, start over.
Do you want me to connect to you? Or
Yeah, why don't you try it again here? This time I'll just wait.
So you'll note, since I disconnected, it just automatically sent out my beacon because it pauses the beacons while you're in a queue zone and then resumes them when you return to the calling frequency. That all happens automatically without me doing anything. If I wanted to turn my beacon off, I just hit this button.
When I tried to, I actually saw you on there and I tried to QSY to you, I think my antenna just went over the head.
Could be.
Okay, we are connected. QSY now.
So I received his request. I'm going to accept it.
It did.
Can you guys hear? Oh, there's some more digital traffic coming up next. So you'll note the frequency has changed. We're no longer at 7105, we're at 710424.
And that other traffic was the next slot down.
I don't think that was VarAC traffic, that was just some, there are all kinds of Winlink stations
Why are you
near this
using
frequency.
ports?
Why am I at 2? It's possible. Did I do that? It's possible. It's possible I hit this. I don't know if I should touch it again.
It's like we are connected.
Huh?
We are connected.
Okay.
Great signals.
I'm gonna leave well enough alone, even if I'm a little off frequency. My muscle memory is confused because even though the FTDX10 I have at home
It's
is
in a
very
different
similar,
place.
all the knobs are differently laid out, so there's like continual confusion. So, would anyone like to say something to Steve? here's the cascading happy faces. If you send LOL exclamation point, it triggers the falling happy faces. Yeah, I'm showing it. As soon as see it's
Oh, that is so cute.
buffer there, and then it does this. And like I said, if you press this gestures tag thing, it'll tell you. If you send hi all together with an exclamation point, it sends 2 regular happy faces. TU exclamation point. Okay, he's sending one back to me.
I want to hear the woman laughing. Go back and.
A woman
There
laughing.
was a gesture for women laughing. I want to hear that.
Okay. Well, I can only send it. He has to send it to me.
All right,
I
Steve.
think.
Send us a laugh, Steve.
Let me see. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I've tried that because I usually have the sound on. Is it hi? Oh,
Hi, W
hi,
exclamation.
woman. All right, that's what it translated to.
That's the women laughing, right?
Well, I thought it said it was a sound, but maybe not.
Yeah. Well, maybe he heard a sound.
Yeah.
Steve, did you hear a
Yeah,
sound?
send it to us. Send us one of the laughs. It's not very laughy. There's all kinds of groups.
Yeah. There's no end to forums.
There's 3 or 4
groups.
different VarAC groups on Facebook.
You'll also see there's this counter here at the bottom. So
Oh, he's typing.
if you want to, oh yeah, there's the is typing, which is you can turn that off if your SNR is really low and you're just barely scraping through. You can turn that off to save a little bandwidth. But I was going to point out when I'm in the middle of sending something, there's a counter down here that'll tell you kind of where you are in the message.
What's the character limit on the buffer?
Well, that says 321.
But it's already showing 115, that's why I was curious. It's not updating.
I wonder if 115 is over. Just guessing. Don't listen to me.
Well, now it's switched to 119 over 321.
So if I click also on that graph button, I can see the SNR over time.
And the distance station is the green one.
I'm sorry?
The green dot is the HK station.
No, the green dots are.
Green dots.
Pull the graph back up.
Oh.
It's actually.
Actually, yeah, the one me is blue and he is red. So yeah. So I can do inquire since I'm in a QSO. I can ask for information.
Right.
And now you see my info requests going out in the buffer. Here's Steve's station automatically replying with his rig, power, antenna, email.
And my age, of course, which I should leave out.
And we can click on PSK Reporter and see how we're getting out. See how it automatically pulls up the browser.
What was that? Oh, PS, okay.
This is using my lousy phone hotspot, so it's probably a slow connection. Hobbies, vintage rock and roll. AV audio. Video editing. There you go. Note it also says new version available, which I decided not to take on the eve of the presentation. Let's see. What's that? Let's see. Hey Steve, do you want
Yes.
to play a game?
I've never tried that. Sure. Teach me something else today.
Should we play tic-tac-toe?
Yep.
I've never played a game.
Let's try it. Why not? You taught me a bunch of other things I didn't know today, so why not?
Be the first degree. Okay. How do I do this? I'm playing. Oh, I'm waiting for you to join my tic-tac-toe game.
You get to move first.
I want the middle. Ha ha! Get the middle.
That means you're going to win, of course. Now, three-dimensional tic-tac-toe, that's different.
Are you playing tic-tac-toe?
We are playing tic-tac-toe.
I've not done that move yet, and
Oh.
What a great utilization. This technology here.
Oh, I guess these PM things are our moves.
Stalemate.
You should let me win.
Okay, next time.
All right, what else shall we do? We can show V-mail, I guess.
That's a great feature, yes.
So, yes. Hang on, got a question. Yes, Chris.
Why would you have a beacon running if you're not at your computer to answer it or to engage in?
Okay, that's a very good question. Chris is asking, why would I run a beacon if I'm away and I'm not at my computer to answer it? So this also applies to JS8 call, where beacons are called heartbeats. Okay, the reason is by even being away and beaconing, it's literally lighting up the landscape to show what propagation is, what stations can hear each other. Remember I said, imagine a situation where I need to get a message to Washington State, but I can't hear them directly. So I need to find an intermediary who can hear them and hear me. That's what beacons do for you. They show, that's how I can click on this button where it says Pathfinder. I'd say, I need to hear, I'm I'm trying to reach N7WI in Washington State. Does anyone hear N7WI? And I get a list of people who can hear that person. So then I connect to one of the people who hears him. I leave my email for him there, and then he connects to them. We never have to talk to each other directly, but we've just communicated. We've done it asynchronously.
So if you're beaconing, you're also agreeing to carry people's signals.
That's a separate option.
You're sending it out, Thomas, you're sending it out, no expectation that anybody's
True.
necessarily required. I'm here.
But yeah, you can turn
And the
off.
same thing on packet radio.
You don't have to allow parking at your station. It's an option. But the beaconing is there to literally illuminate. This is the landscape. This is how propagation is working today. This is how you get a message from here to here. That's the point. Yes, George.
How many hops do they make? Like, you're just, in your example, you're just going from one to
Right.
this other person. You do like a bunch of different hops to get around the world? Or?
That is a great question. I do not think so. Maybe. Jeffrey. He might know. I'm not sure. Or maybe Sam. Do you know?
Is that?
Do you know if you can do multiple hops when you're doing relays on these modes? I'll find out. That's a very good question.
Relay or beacon?
I'm sorry?
You're trying to relay a message.
Beacon.
They're different. Beacon is just a message that says, here I am. This is my SNR to you. I'm running a gateway. If you're running a gateway, you're also publishing your grid square. The relay is just what I mean by I'm an intermediate station and I'm holding on to a message from party A to party B. I'm party C. I have one sitting there for 90 days, so I don't know that there is an expire time. I'm not really sure what the convention is for how long. This is kind of a new thing. I'm not sure people have quite thought that through. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, on the screen there, right next to your call sign, it says idle. Why does it say idle? It's in there the whole time.
Because she hasn't sent anything. If you start typing, I think it changes from idle. No, it doesn't. Oh.
It's just been there the whole time.
I'm not sure what that
Does
means.
it say idle and transmit?
You're still connected.
I'm still connected. Steve, are you still there?
Oh yeah, still here,
Sorry.
still connected. That's all right.
Do you know the answers to any of the questions we were just discussing about?
I'm only hearing about 50% of what's going on in the background. If you repeat the question, I can try.
George here raised the question, when you're talking about relays, can a message potentially take multiple stopping points along the way? And my understanding is no, it's just one, but I'm not certain about that.
I would have assumed more than one, but I really don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting point.
Yep.
All right, so let's send a VMail. So I click send VMail. If I'm just sending to another VarAC user, I'm just specifying a call sign. If I'm sending a conventional email, I have to check this box here. But I'm not going to check that right now. I'm just going to send to Steve. W5HK. Whoops. And reject. Why am I doing
Okay.
that? Oh, Steve, we disconnected.
It's going to hit it in time.
It thinks we idled too long, which is probably true. All right, that's fine. It'll just give us an excuse to connect and exchange of email.
I'll let you connect again. Keep it, play it safe here.
I'll send in my weather report. Hot
And muggy,
and sticky.
just like here.
And reminding me, again, it walks you through everything, right? It says, it's reminding me I'm not connected to anyone, so this is just going to be sitting in my outbox until I connect. Okay. And indeed, if I go up here to Tools, Mailbox, I now see I have this message in the Outbox tab. There's not much in here because this is not my primary PC for using VarAC. But all right, so now we need to connect. I'll connect back to Steve.
Connected.
All right, we are connected.
Plus 5 dB. Wow.
Okay. You're at -4. I'm going to suggest we QSY down. QSY. Like I already sent you my Vmail.
I have a new Vmail here.
Why don't you send me one too, so I can show the new email?
Will do. Okay.
It says Vmail delivered successfully. So that happened automatically just because it was sitting
Hot and sticky, yes. Reply. Okay. Okay, I sent you one.
Rebecca, when I use it, almost all the time, it always sends that dialog box message. You want to leave a message?
Yeah.
It's like they're not online, or they just chose.
That's because he's clicked the I'm away
Okay.
click box here. That's
The
what we
radio's
see.
on, their computer's on,
Yeah.
so I can send my email through their station.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's Chris was just asking me the point, you know, of why we have beacons on if we're away all the time. And truth be told, I'm gonna be honest. I have to tell you, most of the users that you see are just sitting there beaconing. So if you want to have a QSO, you gotta stir the pot a little bit. So I usually throw out a broadcast message first, say hi, especially being a YL, you can say Rebecca in Texas, and then I call CQ, and then you usually get more people coming back. So yeah.
It says there you received the message.
So here.
Mail.
I do like the little Adam, the text that they send, or the little voice. Your mail's gone, or something like that. That's nice, especially if you're half asleep. Because it does take
Right.
some time to get an email to go.
Right. Okay, so it looks like I have email. See this flashing thing here? One new Vmail. I'm gonna click on that. Double click to see the message. Take the grandchildren out for ice cream. 100 degrees here. Okay. It's just like conventional email. I can hit reply, do other things. But now that's gonna be in my inbox. And when I sent FB, which stands for Fine Business, just to hammies for, I don't know. it's an old term, right? When I said FB exclamation point, it converts it into the emoji here, which you see again if you click the gestures. FB is that cool. I should have said cool. All right.
So, how are you going to send a message right now to him saying, is your house painted yet?
Well, I would go to this bottom area. Is your house painted yet?
Okay. Now,
Jack
how do you send
wants to know. I'm going to hit return. And now you see it's moved from there to here,
Okay.
which means it's buffered. And now you see it's gone from there to there, which means it's been sent to the radio now. And now you see it's going out. I don't know if you can see the red light.
All right, so
Here.
It went from here to there to there.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And now it's in the history. So the history, as I said before, what I have sent is in that dark red font, and what I've received from him is in the blue, and the black is from the program, just status messages. And you can, again, change all those colors to your liking if you want to change them from the defaults.
Just be aware, if you have a Windows 11 machine, some of the Windows 11 machines were having a problem on it, so if you notice up in the top, he has a new version.
Yeah, yeah. Steve said he had the problem, and he says that the latest Windows update fixed the problem. Fixed the problem.
Okay.
I haven't. I have. This is Windows 11. That's how I usually run VarAC. I did not. I turned off Windows updates about 2 weeks ago at Steve's suggestion because I didn't want to break anything before the presentation. But my understanding is both the developer of VarAC put out something, and then Windows did another update, and with all that, you're okay. So, hasn't gotten that far yet. Just got garage cleared out from moving 5 years ago. Okay.
Oh, he's fast. Compared to me. Very good presentation.
Antennas are up, so.
I'm picking up a lot. I'm starting to really see.
So how long have you been working with this program
I guess I probably downloaded it a year ago, but I didn't really start banging on it until we said we were doing a presentation. But the presentation was moved like 3 times, so I've had plenty of time to, take screenshots. That's why the PowerPoint got to be 150 slides.
The new email feature where you can get on the internet, made it one of the better programs.
Yes, yes.
That's excellent.
Yes. So see, I don't see an email gateway here in the herd list. I think I don't think I'm hearing as much in this. I think I should be hearing more stations.
But when you hear that on the calling channel as opposed to off on a slot.
I am on a slot.
I know, my
Yeah.
question was, you said you should be hearing more.
Yes,
but
I meant
you're-
I meant on the when I'm sitting on the calling
Gotcha.
frequency, the calling channel, which I was all during the presentation. I had hoped when I was done with the presentation, I would look in this window and
There'd
see.
be like
Yeah, usually if
15
you,
of them.
yeah, exactly. That's about what I would expect to
Which
see after
antenna
an
are you
hour.
on here?
This is the newly strung infant half wave off the
Untested?
what?
Untested, so
Well,
the hex beam might have been a better bet.
well,
Oh, the
except,
hex beam
except
doesn't
that it
do
doesn't
40.
do 40, and
Yeah.
we, I can hear you guys locally on 20-meter ground wave, but we couldn't hear each other to Bastrop.
But that waterfall.
But I talked to
Straight money. It is not.
James a lot.
It is not a computer. It's not a computer.
K5.
I have to ask you, but I believe that is a.
I do notice when I go to 40, there's not very many people that have email gateway. You get 20, I'm finding you.
Yeah.
So you need one.
I'm not running a gateway on this, but I do on this one at home. I just followed it was like a 3-page PDF with instructions. I just followed it to the letter. It told me exactly what to do, so it's not hard.
It does have a VHF.
Really easy to set up.
Then getting
Yeah,
some-
I mean, the hard part was I had to set up a new Gmail account to jump through those
That's what I had to
hoops.
do.
Yeah, having done that, it's up and running fine. I think 4 people used me to check into VarAC and Wednesday last week,
She said it has VHF.
so I know it's working.
And you can send QSL cards too.
That's true. Oh, I forgot about the QSL cards. Hey,
And the
Have you got any QSL cards?
I did. In fact, Steve is the only one who's received it, I believe.
Very nice, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you for reminding me. Let's see.
Get my phone and show you the QSL card.
Where is it? Settings. It's not going to let me do it in a QSL. Steve, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
You got my QSL card, right?
I did indeed. It looks great.
I can't
Thank
remember
you.
how I generated it.
It looked wonderful.
Basically, the program, there's somewhere in the VarAC program where you can specify a JPEG to use as your.
It looked great. By the way, Rebecca, your signal right now is plus 11 dB, which is the strongest I've ever seen on VarAC.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're kind of bouncing between -5 and -10.
Remember, I have a wet noodle for an antenna, though.
Right. I hear you. Well, we're up fairly high, I guess.
No, it's really working good.
Do a HOA.
Here's the QSL card I got. It's these email.
Yeah, I know.
That's created within the program.
Oh, right. I think I did it on this laptop. Yeah.
Rebecca, can you crank down to 10 watt or 1 watt and see what happens?
10 watts?
1 watt. It's your signal. 1 watt. Can you try that?
Come on, Steve. You're not
Oh,
gonna-
come on. Be adventurous.
All right. I'm at 33 right now.
Right. And I went from 25 to 10. You're about 10 dB stronger than me, so you should at 1 watt. Whatever.
I can't go down below 5.
Well, 5 is great. I'll take it.
I'm on 5.
All right.
I also bumped the VFO again. Sorry.
That's okay. You are.
Rebecca,
Yeah.
should we continue with the recording and the lecture? Or we,
Oh no, I think we're boring people on the recording at this point.
okay.
Nah. They're fascinated.
I think I've set that, and I'll